Hello everyone. So I will going to discuss the 8th event, which is the assess performance, and the last event is the enhanced retention transfer of Robert Gagne's 9 events of instruction. So we will focus first on the assess performance.
Assess performance or retrieval. So this is one of the most anticipated parts of the students' performance, wherein they were able to know if the expected outcome or the learning objectives has been met, or there is a need for them to expound their knowledge. So, meaning to say, it is a method of assessing students that requires them to directly demonstrate what they know and are capable of doing through an open-ended task, such as constructing an answer, creating a project, or performing an activity. So the ultimate method of learning is recall, also known as remembering. So when you try to recall something, your brain replaces a pattern of neural activity that you have previously experienced. So the more you practice recalling this information, the more solidified this similar pattern becomes. So assessments are the official method of testing learner recall. So this assists students in understanding what they already know and what they need to spend more time learning. So assessments also collect important learning data that we can use to improve instruction as designers. So there are tips of assessing performance. So meaning and example. Quizzes or other assignments should be included in instructional design lessons to confirm the mastery of the objectives. So at each level, it includes milestone tests, and assessments. So pre-testing could assist students in determining how much they are prepared to know and whether they can and should skip certain sections of the course or concentrate on specific topics. So another is post-testing should be used to confirm whether learners have mastered a specific content through the use of online quizzes, word games, or multiple choice questions. So next we have questions or observation. So this is usually comes at the end of the experience. It's when we want to see, okay, did this person actually learn anything? And a common way to do this is this multiple choice questions, as I have said earlier, or this assessment. So but you can also do this with the observation for things that are a bit more visual, when you can see someone performing it correctly, and we can go much deeper into this. But what's the main idea here when you're assessing that performance and seeing if someone actually did learn? So next is we have gives helpful data to learner and instructor. So what they're supposed to learn is that you're getting useful data for both the person going through that learning experience and instructor or the designer. So the person going through the experience, if they fail that assessment, at the end it gives them a pretty idea that okay, I'm not ready, I need to go back and study and this information more, so I need to look at some other sources, maybe get some coaching so that I can get on the right track with this. And if you're the designer and you are seeing people fail, so the assessment can provide you with useful information about how to improve the learning experience or the assessment to make it more in line with the learning objectives. So I will show you a video for a better understanding and give you another example about assess performance.
Robert Gagne's 9 events of instruction make an effective instructional design model that addresses the conditions necessary for learning. There are 9 events in the model: gain attention, inform learners of objectives, stimulate recall of prior learning, present the content, provide learning guidance, elicit performance, provide feedback, assess performance, and enhance retention and transfer to the job. In this video, we'll be focusing on the 8th event, Assess Performance. In order for learning to take place, you've got to assess whether or not your learners have achieved the objectives of your instruction. So, Event 8 has a close relationship with Event 2, when you informed your learners of these objectives in the first place. Let's say you've been teaching a new class of Little League basketball referees the signals for various calls. If your objective in Event 2 was to simply have them be able to recall these signals on demand, you could assess their performance through a series of drills, perhaps by stating calls randomly and seeing how well they produce the signals from memory. Or perhaps your objective in Event 2 was for your learners to be able to use the signals when making calls during a basketball game. To assess this, you would have to plan to have some people playing basketball for them to make calls with. To simplify it, you could have the trainees take turns playing and making calls. To succeed at Event 8, Assess Performance, you need to think about it in conjunction with Event 2, Inform learners of objectives. Plan these events with one another in mind, and you will set your students up for success. Once you have assessed performance, you will be ready to move on to Gagne's 9th and final event, Enhance Retention and Transfer to the Job.
So now, we have the Enhanced Retention Transfer or Generalization. So this is an additional input to allow learners retention of new knowledge. So this can be in the form of additional reinforcement through practices and summarization. So the goal of the last event is to enhance retention and transfer. So learners must be able to apply their knowledge to real-world situations by the end of your instruction. So this is without a doubt the most difficult of Gagne's events. So make sure that you give students plenty of opportunities to practice. So we have tips to enhance retention and transfer. So we have mirrored the performance context. So imagine the situation when the person is going to have actually used this new knowledge or these new skills, and try to mirror that situation in the learning experience. So this is good for the simulations when you really put someone in that same situation, that they would be in the real life, and then you give them the guidance they need to use the skills and that knowledge in that real-world context. So next we have provide job aids. So job aids are another excellent way to accomplish this. As if you've only just learned what you've learned in the last 20 minutes or so. Now, you can get it on this one-page job aid and take it with you to work. And you can see how the job aid helps with enhanced transfer by acting as a connector between the learning experience and the actual job. So you can quickly refer to it without having to go back and repeat the learning experience for another couple of minutes whenever you need a quick refresher. So next we have the relate content to real-world situations. So when we relate course material to our real-life situations, so we acknowledge the potential of prior experience to enhance learning, while also informing our students that they must connect new information to their own experiences. Okay, so I have here the 9 events of instruction according to Robert Gagne and the techniques. For gaining attention, pose thought-to-provoke questions, present an intriguing problem, and present meaningful and relevant challenges. So number 2, informing learners of the objective. So describe what they will be able to do after the session. Describe the required performance and its criteria, and explain how the learning will benefit them. So stimulate recall of prior information. So ask questions on their previous experience, ask about their understanding of the previous concepts, and gives a similar situation to what they will be learning. And present information. So organize content in easy to understand manner, chunk information, use multiple delivery methods, a variety of text and graphics as well as approaches. We have provide guidance, so concept mapping for an association, graphics to make visual associations, mnemonics to cue and prompt learning, and analogies on knowledge construction, case studies for a real-world application. And elicit performance, have the learner demonstrate the acquired behavior or knowledge of the content, ask thought-provoking questions, have thought-provoking questions, have the learner apply the knowledge to a scenario or case study. So provide feedback reinforcement, be positive, be objective, deliver focused and concise feedback to areas of students' control, and assess performance or retrieval, written test, oral questioning, short essays or questionnaires, etc. And enhance retention transfer, have them summarize the content, have them generate examples, and have them create concept maps. So I have also a video presentation here about the enhanced retention transfer or generalization.
Enhance retention and transfer to the job. In order for learning to take place, you've got to provide learners with a way to remember what they've learned and apply it in the right context. Let's say you just finished teaching a group of salespeople the selling points of a new product. One way you could enhance retention and transfer to the job would be with a job aid. You could send them away with a card that has an acronym that sums up the points. That way, they would be able to study and recall the points easily. Another way to enhance retention is with a follow-up. In our example, this could take the form of a follow-up email or text, reminding your learners of the technique and even asking them to share their experiences using it. And there are other strategies as well, including having them generate examples, summarize the content themselves, or create their own reference material. To succeed at Event 9, enhance retention and transfer to the job, you need to think ahead to what your learners will be doing after your instruction is over. What else will they need to apply what they have learned? This bit of extra planning will set them up for success. And that concludes this video series on Gagne's 9 events of instruction.
Robert Gagne's 9 events of instruction model assists trainers, educators, and instructional designers in structuring their training sessions. So the model is a systematic process that assists them in developing strategies and activities for instructional classes. So the 9 events serve as a framework for an effective learning process. So that would be all, and thank you so much.